today to discuss the capital investment program, funding a matter that directly impacts the infrastructure, services, and future of our communities. It would be irresponsible to ignore the shortcomings of the past. Consultation processes around CIP funding were too often marked by limited transparency. Decisions were taken without adequate community input, leaving residents uncertain and at times mistrustful of the very same municipality meant to serve them. This lack of openness weakened confidence in governance and slowed the progress we all strive for. Speaker, our city is still in a shocking state, and we have much to still do due to the ineffective planning, lack of resources, and lack of accountability. Measures for each project that aims to address services in the communities. Speaker, please note previous challenges. The 3-year contracts that were not renewed or advertised in time for budget consultation, creating uncertainty and delays. CIP projects were not implemented within the allocated budget time frame, leaving communities waiting for promised improvements. Budget allocations for CIP has raised serious questions, clearly communicated. Scope of work is not merely about budgets. It is about people, openness and collaboration.
Honourable Speaker, listen carefully now is one of those words, phrases that was used quite frequently in the previous dispensation. And administration, you have put a good plan in place for this year's CIP funding, and we appreciate that as the Democratic Alliance, because 30 years of teaching has eventually paid off. You get your 33.3% pass this year. We agree with the way that you are doing it. We think that the external consultants who have been very professional and hands-on is great. However, Mr. Speaker, in the times of rising inflation and rising costs of building materials, rising labor costs because the ANC remains in partnership with the SACP and the unions, etc., driving up the cost of living on a daily basis, we do believe that 3 million rand minus the 300,000 for the consultants is starting to look a bit long in the tooth. The fact is, and the reality is that the CIP budgets very often are a stopgap measure for the real wish list projects need in communities. And we will certainly...
Point of order, Councillor Kuzwayo.
Hey, Speaker.
Point of order, Councillor Kuzwayo.
Hey, Speaker. This is an anomaly for this council to sit in a meeting that is discussing the budget and the DA is voting with us, because they rejected the very same budget that they are saying today they support.
There's not a point of order.
We're coming into government.
EFF.
Speaker, ngibonge ithuba. Councillors, officials, or all protocol observed. Asibonge le initiative CEFF inhle ngoba izothi isize ukuthi ama-ward councillor angahlezi ejakha umphakathi. Sibona umgwaqo yethu ngeke izihle ezishile sivalele emsebenzini ngokunyamala ama-ward councillor azokwazi manje ukuthi abesemawadini athi umphakathi nansi emalini. Siyathemba ukuthi nizowabiza ama-ward councillors ama-meeting niwa-address umphakathi ngale mali yawo ekunini. Sikuveza ukuthi amakhansela e-EFF azoba khona kulamawadi wonke. If you have to hire ama-van and senze loud hailing, sisho ukuthi umphakathi kunezizombolo zenza amamiliyoni ezikumphakathi sizokwenza lokho.
Ikinga iqala
because ukwasola ama-official size sithi ene because ukwasola ama-official size sithi ene kuze kube khona abantu abathi ene awuthathele umsebenzi wawo wenziwe yithina. Angiboni ukuthi kunomqondo ophelele lokho, because bala sisabathatha sabaletha la because bangama-expertise alokho thina singakwazi ukuthi sifinyele kukona. Ngakho-ke sithi siyawabongisa ama-ward councillors awahambise lo msebenzi kubantu futhi benze isiqiniseko sokuthi bahlonza ngempela ama infrastructures la umphakathi owadingayo. Akho ke sithi ke lo msebenzi ke lo awuqhubeke abantu bawuthi bekhuluma iGNU yobisebenza ngoba vele abantu umsebenzi wabo ukukhuluma iGNU ukuthi isebenze. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker. Yes, Councillor Said.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, this community infrastructure project budget, first and foremost, Speaker, it's become the norm for ward councillors to believe that this is their fund that they need to spend in whatever way they deem fit. I think it's important for us to recognize that there are PR councillors in all of these wards, and somehow, somewhere, PR councillors need to be involved in the consultative process of how this money is spent. Speaker, I take you to Ward 31, wherein the Asherville pool has been sitting in its condition for the past 4 years since is the money being spent. That's the first thing. When we're talking about this particular fund, Speaker, that's all I can do is call an order on things that we're speaking about.
Your point of order is overruled. It's not a point of order, by the way.
Yes.
Well, but you heard what I said.
Councillor Said.
I think the DA just wants to speak because
Point
they
of
want
order,
to speak.
sir.
Point of order.
Speaker.
No. You don't refer to the speaker as
Speaker,
say.
sorry, Speaker. Oh, he needs
Or
to
not the
help them.
councillor.
They do not contact us, yet, when it comes for them to show a blind eye to land that is being taken over so that they can extract votes from it in 2026, they quite willingly will now put in people into the suburbs wherein majority of the minorities live so that they can extract those votes from them later on. Speaker, the DA is here to make sure that the city fails. And with that, Speaker, we'd like to be very clear that the 3 million rand that is allocated to ward councillors, yes, fully understood, Councillor Mtetwa, that it's what it is used for. But we are saying, what have they done with regard to every challenge that the community faces all of the time? Or do they, from the 8 VDs or 10 VDs that are allocated per ward, concentrate specifically on VDs wherein they believe that they will get the most amount of votes? Speaker, we need to start removing ourselves from that attitude of believing that the ward should be divided. Councillors should no longer divide the wards. They should not allow land to be taken in wards, especially in Phoenix and in Chatsworth, that is currently happening. Thank you, Speaker.
Do your job first
Misleading
before you
the
Thank you,
talk about
Councillor.
votes.
Freedom Front Plus.
This year we budgeted 825 million on consultants. This is equal to 854 million we budgeted for capital spent on electricity. Stop for a moment and compare. Consultants versus electricity capital spent. We have written off 9.7 billion in irregular expenditures and wasteful expenditure since 2021. Last month we borrowed another 2 billion to pay off over 15 years. Why are we appointing unskilled officials instead of these consultants? Maybe time to scrap BE
Point of order.
employment in this council
Point of order,
and use
Councillor President.
people's money.
Councillor Madlala.
It's not a point of order, Chair. Bengicela ukuthi usikhulumise iqembu lontamo olukhuni engathi singasondela empopweni ukuze sizwakala simuzwe.
You can proceed, Councillor.
Maybe it is time in this council that we use people's money for the benefit of the people instead of connected cadres employment. The Freedom Plus support this, but with reservations.
Thank you very much, Councillor Ntuli.
Sibonga Somlomo.
Speaker,
Yes.
it was me before Ntuli. No, Speaker, I speak. You did recognize me, Speaker. You did.
No.
you did. No, Speaker, you did. I'm not disrupting, Speaker.
I will
You
sort
did
that. I will sort
recognize
that. I will sort that.
Umnqango wenze content.
Councillor.
The driving of living. By priority from the D. We decided to see in 20 elokuze CIP ngong yabona in 20 elokuze CIP ngong yabona mhlawumbe uzongizwa mangishaya izulu sodwa mhlawumbe uzongizwa mangishaya izulu sodwa. Now ke sifuna ukubonga now ke sifuna ukubonga kakhulu city manager ukuthi with your team you dedicated time niye kwana yonke indawo those that are ward councillors they know that have been part of the process bakwazile futhi ukwazi ukubaphawule wherever lafanele baphawule khona into ezifunakala bafanele bizibe khona emphakathini and si happy nokuthi nendlela ekuzospendwa ngayo le mali wakubalekile mase sishilo sathi imali soyispend ibe khona ethi kumanje na umchibiyelo oqala sosebenzisa ukusebenzisa ama contractor lawakhona but at the same time kwezinye indawo in the main salinde ukuthi ku appoint ama contractor akakhona azosetshenziswa in a month to month ukuze kwazi ukuthi uqhubeke kuye phambili ifuna ukugcina ukuthi ke siyayisupporta iitem as the African National Congress and we believe ukuthi noma yini lebi raise ama council into leyo usase ezosiza abantu bakithi and esinenkolelo ukuthi yonke izogcina implementekile ngoba ama plans they are in place ama contractor they are there everything is in place siyabonga kakhulu thank you very much
Councillor Mngwango, I have very
On table where we don't get enough time to really go through the recommendation, the entire report. But having said that, I think it's important also to highlight that it can be that the accountability is always expected when it comes to ANC councillors, and DA councillors don't expect to be accountable. When previous councillors were raising accountability on DA councillors, they are screaming like ambulance, but the very same DA will expect different from the ANC. And when you talk to CIPs,
Speaker.
when you go to
Speaker.
yes.
Akazi ngiziphola for to your speaker or to your team. Ngoba ujwayele ukusitshela kahle kahle uMngcango unomzuzu odonithwe ubani. So ngazi kuba iEFF about 3 minutes laba unless uMngcango odonithwele. So about 3 minutes uMngcango laba angazi kwenzani.
uyithatha phi uMngcango
Bawo 3 kuphela nje bawo 4 abavotelwanga laba.
No, they are
Uthatha
managed-
ku-MK
on this
lengaphezulu.
on this item they are managed donated. Mngcango?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
aqhamuka kubani
Nenkinga EFF.
So the point here, Honourable Speaker, although one is reading on a last minute, but you can see the kind of a first spread of the allocation of these CIPs. But where the DA govern, it fails to ensure that the areas that are predominantly black areas don't get this kind of funding. But they can then come here and claim as if they govern better wherever they govern. Our president of Action SA has been raising this issue of the pressure he was getting as the DA mayor when he was a mayor in Johannesburg, that he was expected to only save his white areas, not black areas. So here we are sitting with a recommendation where there's a fair spread in the entire eThekwini communities without discriminating on a racial basis. So therefore, as a SA, we do support this recommendation. Then DA must stop this.
yafela usawusihlala
Thank you.
Sorry. Uxolo speaker.
Thank you.
Uxolo speaker.
Order. Councillors, are the recommendation agreed? Thank you very much. Let's maintain order. Let's maintain order. Before we move to the in-committee, I have engaged with His Worship the Mayor. The announcement that he wanted to convey to council, I think is important for council to be informed or to be aware on what the mayor is about to say, because it concerns council members and the residents of the city. I want to give His Worship the Mayor an opportunity to make the announcement that he requested me time to convey to audible.
Propose a further funding to the city structure and improve service delivery across the city. The allocation of over 400 million improve the performance. Allocation of over 400 million improve the performance of these critical. of these critical services are being recognized and strengthen services are being recognized and strengthen our waste management systems to keep our city clean and support initiatives of our integrated public transport network, Durban. This follows the resolution of the impasse, brought about by the introduction of the technical adjustment. Of course, project has taken longer than anticipated. With those words, thank you very much. I thought I should just make this announcement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of ESCO Council.